on to all of my Libras. Let's get into it because the sun's going down. Let's go. If you'd like to contact me for a personal reading, my email address as well as the prices are in the description box below. So the cards that I come up with are the Knight of Swords, Ace of Pentacles. I love this tarot deck. It's my favorite. The Moon. I love dragons. I even studied dragonic magic. Seven of Pentacles, the Magician, Eight of Swords, Nine of Swords, the Empress, the Page of Pentacles, and the Justice. So what I'm seeing here for the Libras is I'm seeing for the next year, 2022, right? Because this is a yearly overview. Excuse me. It speaks to how other people are going to have their and you showed up in your own reading because Empress is ruled by Venus and specifically the zodiac sign of Libra. So showed up in your own reading, you're in your own element here, or you need to find your own element in this sense. And you have the Justice, which represents Libra. You see what I'm saying? So you all up in this reading. So this is definitely for you. Next year is about how other people are going to put some form of BS imprinting onto you, right? This false perception, this false ideology that they have onto you. It's going to be emotional, and it doesn't necessarily have to make sense. It could even be skewed. That's their perception of you, regardless of whether it's real or if it's false. Now, the Seven of Pentacles and the Magician is for you to not care, because Libra does kind of care about their reputation a little bit too much. Them and Capricorns, that's something that they have in common. You need to understand that these people are jealous of you because they don't have your level of creativity, especially because Libra is one of those zodiac signs where, I'm going to be real with you, Libra is one of those zodiac signs that Libra can be stale. And Libra can be quite unimaginative and quite uncreative. I'm just being honest with you. But let's not forget that one of the greatest occultists of all time was Pascal Beverly Randolph, who in fact was a Libra, born October 8th. And if it wasn't for Pascal, the entire Western hemisphere of the planet would not know occult, wizardry, witchcraft, sorcery. So this Libra did bring something over to, or produce something to the entire world. Let's not forget that. When, like I said this before, and I give credit where credit is due, air signs can be on some BS. But when air signs get their stuff together and they are inspired and they decide that they want to do something, don't get in their way. So that's the same kind of energy that a lot of you Libras need to have from the beginning of the year, 2022, to the end of the year. Stay inspired. Keep your head up. Stay inspired. Then you have the Eight of Swords. The Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords represents this being a situation where the Eight of Swords is only address it when it gets back to you. And when people start asking you about it, then you address it. So if your friends ask you about these people, start asking you about these people talking about you crazy, then you address the situation, right? Then you say, no, this is what actually happened, okay? And then you have the Nine of Swords. The Nine of Swords is, yes, you are going to eventually get tired of addressing certain things. You know, rumors that people keep trying to put out about you, and maybe even the difficulties that they're trying to bring to your table because they're upset at you for something and they're being overly emotional about it. But the Empress represents, these are all obstacles in your way that is supposed to have happened. It's supposed to happen because, let me show you something. Because the Emperor and the Empress, the Emperor represents the meditative state, right? The Emperor represents the rulership. So does the Empress, which is Libra, right? But the Empress represents it from a very more shrewd perspective, more manipulative perspective. Don't take it personally. We're just talking science here. Because the Empress represents the person that keeps their mouth shut and is quiet. Like a chess piece. What's the most powerful piece on the board? King and queen. Well, then why is it that the queen gets to go all these long distances? No. The king can go these long distances too. It's the king. The reason why the king doesn't do that is based upon the way they move. It's a sense of strategy. So the pawns will get eaten up first because the pawns are the easiest to manipulate. Right? Right? The queen moves all over the board because the queen has the longest reach on the board. Not because the queen is more powerful than the king, but because the queen is the right-hand person of the king. So the queen goes these long distances on a chess piece because the queen is working in tandem alongside partnership, which is what ironically Libra represent, along with Sagittarius. Partnership coincide or next to your loved one. So the king is the person that shows up, does the stuff, right? Does the waving and stuff like this, and remains quiet so that the king doesn't essentially get murked off because of the jealousy. But the queen can go out there and handle the queen's business on a long-term level because most people underestimate the queen. Because everybody thinks that the queen doesn't have anything going on. When in actuality, the queen is a keeper of secrets, among other things. But anyway, I'm not going to get too deep into it. I can get into that. But you know what I'm talking about. And then the thing is that the Page of Pentacles and the Justice is, the Page of Pentacles and the Justice represents how eventually, okay, those people who are talking smack, they're going to be losing the entire year, regardless of zodiac sign, right? So they can't be, these readings are essentially made, these prosperous readings are made for people who are doing the work. The people, obviously, who are not doing the work, obviously, they're going to stick out like a sore thumb, and things won't work out so well for them because they're not doing the internal work. So let's get into it. Let's clarify the Empress, the Four of Cups, the King of Swords, the Judgment. Obviously, make friends, do what it is that you need to do, but don't be so preoccupied with keeping a reputation and being overly preoccupied with keeping it either. Just tell the truth. Say what it is that needs to be said and only address it when it gets back to you. Okay? The King of Swords, also too, keep some good friends, some people who you know that you can trust, experienced, right? You've been through some things with them. And then you have the Judgment. Be very careful about the people who you spend your time with because they could be on some BS, obviously. So that's pretty much it. Comment on the video, like the video, subscribe. Peace.